Greetings, Minecrafters! Nonsanity here, and welcome to another episode of Avant 3 here on the FTOG server. I'm here with two new supporters to the channel, people who push the support button on my YouTube channel page, Robots and Dpatu. I got their severed heads on display. Thanks, guys. Dun, 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 dun. As always with these supporters, this is not a Patreon thing with monthly or episodic payment commitments. This is just going to my YouTube homepage, Nonsanity, and clicking the support button and choosing some small amount of money. Well, it's usually small, but it could be whatever you want, really. and just clicking it and sending off a little thank you to me. That's not required, but I definitely want to thank everybody who pushes the button with their severed head on display. It's not available in every country, I wanted to mention. A few people said, where is this button? I don't see it. YouTube hasn't rolled it out everywhere yet, but anywhere, I guess, that they have the Google Wallet system in place, they can set up these payments. Alright, so today I want to do that rearrangement of the Botania mana production that I was talking about. And then we're going to get started on the Roots mod. I want to try out on that. There's nothing really in that mod I want to do. Let's just beat the big boss battle. I think we can get to that in a single episode. It's not going to take that long. But along the way, I'm going to automate things too, because, hey, I'm me. I like automating things. So, without more ado, let me go and get us started, finishing up with Botania. Oh, and before we get too far along, I want to say that I went ahead and I moved all of my storage from the old base to here. This is my Chisel and Bits control center, using refined storage to hold all of my stuff. How do you like it? I think it came out pretty good. It still needs to be finished. The rest of it is just sort of a big box hiding stuff, and the trash can is just temporary, but, you know, I like it. Sort of this retro futuristic design, the sort of 60s, maybe 50s, maybe even 40s, I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's sort of 40s, 50s era. I'm sort of doing everything here. It's because it's made up of blocks, it's hard to really pin down a time frame for this style, but yeah, I'm liking it. I've got my grid with everything in it, so I moved all my storage out of easy storage and into refined storage. I've got my pattern maker for doing recipes and a crafting monitor for monitoring when they're running. Right now, I don't have very many recipes made. There's the few that I already had made up just to help make the drives. These aren't connected to anything yet. They will be. Most of my stuff is in these drives here, which you can see between the red and the blue. It's maybe 1/4 full. Yeah, probably about 1/4. I've got some extra drives set up for maybe fluids later on, if I ever need that. And then anything I've got a ton of, I put in these quantum storage blocks. So like sand, I've got 83,000. Coal, I've got 3 million. I've got 5 million redstone. I've got 3 million iron. I've got 1 million cobble. So anything I have a whole lot of, I went ahead and made one of these quantum storage, deep storage unit type devices to hold it. And they all have storage buses on the top or bottom to connect them to the system. I also made one of these wireless transmitters and a wireless grid so that I can access my stuff from around the base. It only has the maximum range boosts of 4, which gives us 48 blocks. So that gives me the whole area around the base, and that's about it. So I could probably go down there and still access everything. I was running short on petals, So I set up this system. Let's. I don't have to go over there now. I can just call up some bone meal and refill this. I'm not letting it run continuously. Just 9 stacks of bone meal. And then in here, I've got these petals. All I have to do is put the petals into this guy. And what happens is when the timer goes off, it gets the immediate signal and it plants a petal in this grass, which doesn't do anything right away. But then it goes through a slight timer around the back, and it goes to the mechanical user here that has the bone meal in it, which bone meals it and causes the petal to grow into a 2-high flower. And then it goes through another short, well, I think it's max length repeater before it goes into this one, which has the shears of winter, which harvests the plant. It gets sucked up by this item collector and put into a tier 3 crafter, which is programmed to take each of the flowers, the tall flowers, and turn them into petals. So as the flowers come in here, they get turned into petals and output. I've got one item conduit here set to extract all the time. It's set to insert at a -10 priority into a return to my main storage, modular storage. This thing is linked over there to import buses, which empty it out into my storage system. But then on the other side over here is another insert with priority 0. So it'll try and put the petals back into here to fill up any gaps. So it just used blue and it filled it up. It just used purple at 63, 64. So it'll keep these maxed at 64. And I've got 8 different colors in here. I've got 2 of the blue, since the blue was the one I had the least of at one point. And any excess gets sent over here to go into the storage. So this will run until it runs out of bone meal. And then once it's run out of bone meal, it's going to plant the petal. The bone meal won't make it grow, and then this thing will go ahead and it'll harvest up the petal that I stuck in the ground. And the petal will come out and go into here. Now there's no recipes to handle petals, so it's just going to sit in there, which is why I pulled out all 9 of these stacks from the crafter. At that point, nothing's going to happen. But this way, it's, multiplying the petals by 4 and adding them back into the system. But only for the first 8 colors. Once I've got enough of those, I will switch it over to the other colors. And actually, it didn't really make me that many. Let's go ahead and give it more. Let's get a crate. I don't have one. Just a small storage crate. I don't have any chests. There we go. One small storage crate and a bunch of bone meal. Keep it one short because I need to get out. Nope, not from there. From here. One item conduit. Where are my item conduits? There they are. I got 2, but that's good enough. So I'm going to put that here and put the item conduit. Oh, I can't put it here because I can put it down below. Put it there, but then I'm going to just disconnect it from this guy. So it's going to extract all the time and insert here. Now I can put all this bone meal in. And this should be filling up with bone meal. Yep. Let's get some more. and space click it in. And some more. I just want to have enough pedals that I never have to worry about it again. That's probably good enough. Yeah, actually, one more. Let's just fill up the small crate and see what we get. I got plenty of bone meal. So 3 more stacks. Alright, and put that back. So that will run longer now. And then when it's done, I should have plenty of those 8, and I can switch all the programming over to the other 8. I thought about setting up a second system, but I figured, I'll just run them concurrently. The red coal for that, I set up over here. Just this quick little thing. 19 speed upgrades. The 20th didn't seem to make any difference. Or, no, what was it? I don't know. For some reason, I only did 19. The coal is being turned into red coal, nice and quick. Hey, Toddy's here. The regular coal is coming in here. It is set to only with a redstone signal. And this guy is set to 10,000, which is hard to see. That's 10,000 red coal. So as long as there's, and that's set to emit when the signal is under the amount. So when there's less than 10,000 red coal in my storage system, it'll keep inputting coal into here. And then it's exporting here. Interestingly, it looks like this guy counts as a cable, so this and this are connected to each other. And yet this is also sending its signal into here. So while it looks odd, it actually works. Alright. So you've seen the new control system. This is temporary. And this is also just some experiments I was doing. Alright, this is the new layout I'm going to do for my power systems. 2 guys on. It's been a little quiet over the holidays. I've previously taken these mana spreaders with a potency and velocity lens, and I found out that they can handle 12 endoflames. Now this may have changed. There's been a number of versions since I did that testing, but that's the way it was. I'm going to duplicate this setup on this other side here. But this time I'm going to use... let's get my stuff out of the project chest. I'm going to use elven spreaders. They probably can carry more. But I'm not going to bother retesting them for now to see if they can handle more than 12. Probably can, but that's okay. So let's get out the mana pool, stick that there, and I'm just going to stick a block temporarily right here. And I'll show you why in a moment. I'm going to take the wand and aim this mana spreader at the pool, this mana spreader at the pool, and this mana spreader at the pool. Unfortunately, as you can see from the 3 beams, this top one's getting blocked by the middle one. But if we instead aim it at this block underneath, it's aimed right at the pool now. We can get rid of this block. So all 3 are going straight to the pool, which is great. Let's get a spark with a recessive. Oh, looked like there was some mana. Spark with a recessive quickly before this thing gives up all of its mana to it. It gave a little bit, and then there was some stuck in the spreaders that filled the pool the rest of the way up. Alright, so always put down the spreaders first in this, because as I place the endoflames, they're going to link up to whatever spreader is closest to them, and they favor the one on the same level as themselves. So all those should be linked to the bottom spreader, and these will be linked to the middle one. There we go. And then these will link to the top one. And I'm going to leave a hole there and instead put its flower up at one, which will still link to this top guy. So I'm going to put the Solagnolia there so that my magnet doesn't pick up the fuel. And I'm going to put an automatic precision dropper from Actually Additions aimed up in this hole. On top of that, I'm going to put a wooden pressure plate. Now this precision dropper is set to redstone mode deactivation. If it gets a redstone signal, it'll stop it from outputting. Otherwise, it'll output one at a time. By having it aim up and having a wooden pressure plate, it's going to spit one out, which is going to fly up and then land on the wooden pressure plate and stop any more from coming out. So only one will be coming out at a time. As soon as one of the flowers eats that piece of fuel, it'll release the wooden pressure plate, letting this thing spit out another one. But then we want it to completely stop outputting fuel, as that one is completely stopped, even though there's nothing on it, because the pool it's aiming at is full. So that's our next step, is to read this quantity of the contents of that pool to stop this guy from outputting any more. And because I don't want to run cables everywhere, we've got this advanced redstone interface, which requires a position filter. As you can see, I've already linked it to this guy. So it's purple. If I shift right click, it's cleared? No. Crafting table to clear it? No. Somewhere there's... I guess there's no real way to clear it. But whatever you click on becomes purple when you're holding it. And you have to shift click on this guy. So now that guy's purple. This basically has the position of that block recorded in it. So if we put this little piece of paper into this advanced redstone interface, wherever we place this interface, any redstone signal that goes into this block will be just as if it's being put into this block. Really nice, isn't it? Remote redstone. So now, to read the contents of this pool, you would normally use a comparator. And I could attach comparators up here and do all that, but you know, I want to keep it clean. So instead we're going to do it remotely with this thing, the red stringed comparator, also from Botania. And I've got another one right here. These things work in a straight line of sight. So by placing it here facing up, the little red dot is on the top, it's looking straight up at the bottom of this guy. And it has a limited range, and this is the maximum for that range. So if I now hold the wand, you can see what it is aimed at with this red slinky, the red string. This is as high as it can go. If I move the pools up one more, it won't be able to reach. Now there can be stuff in the way. I was tempted to move them down a block and then move all this down one, so that I could keep the two pools there, because you can put blocks in the way, I'm pretty sure, and it doesn't care. Yep, see, it goes right through. And I guess I might do that, because it'll be nice to have just pool down there and not actually see the redstone, or not to see those two blocks sticking up. But at least it's symmetric, so it's not a big deal. I will switch these over to the Elven mana spreaders, but as soon as I break them, they're going to delink from all these flowers. And when I place the new spreaders, the flowers won't automatically relink. I'd have to either relink them all by hand, or easier still is just to break all the flowers and replace them. But I'm going to do that off camera at some point. No sense doing that on camera. It just takes up time. Anyway, we got to finish setting this up. So let's go down below. We can see what we've got down here. Coming out of that red string comparator is a comparator. In this case, a sticky one, so I can put it on the wall and have it coming straight down out of view. And that gives us, the output of this comparator is a redstone signal strength based on how full the pool is up above. I then have another comparator, again, sticky, but this one is set to subtraction mode, and from the side it's getting this analog emitter, which is set to 4, and it has a positive redstone signal on the circular side so that it's actually outputting the analog signal. Otherwise it doesn't do anything. So make sure you have that positive redstone signal on the round side. And then on all the other sides it'll output whatever strength signal it's got. So the comparator in subtraction mode will take whatever the input is, subtract 4, and that's what it outputs. So an input of 4 or less will output nothing. No redstone signal will be going into this block, which has its own position filter for the other dropper. But anything above 4 will output a signal. So anything above 4 will output a signal and stop more fuel from being added. So as soon as the pool is probably about a quarter full, it should stop outputting. So I just right-click that after I place it to put it into subtraction mode. Oh, I've got to put it in the right direction here. You can also hit it with a wrench, but this is just as easy. And now put the lever there, power that. Yep, that makes a change. This is set to 1. We're going to go to 4. So that one is on because the pool is full. This pool is still empty, so it's off, which means that the fuel system will run. Now, if I put another one of these guys right here, this is not going to work because they leak the signal. The comparators are putting out a strong signal, which leaks into the surrounding blocks. So this signal coming into here is actually leaking out to the side here and down below, which means if either one of the pools is full, both of them will stop outputting fuel. And that's not necessarily what I want. I want them to both be independent. So by setting up a repeater here, I just pass this down a little farther to this spot. And the repeater ignores signals coming in from the side. So that sends it down here. And now we put in the position filter. And I think that's all done. All it takes now is to come up here and give this thing some fuel, which it starts outputting one at a time. And as each one gets eaten, it'll spit out another one. This nicely staggers the flowers in time, which is good because that way when the pool is full enough that it stops outputting fuel, it's not all of them at once that stop or run for a long time. It should be an even number. It'll slow down slowly, filling the pool the rest of the way up. So we should be seeing mana flowing. We do. Looks like the bottom layer is doing all the eating right now. Interestingly enough, I did put those down first. I don't know if that matters. I don't know what makes one flower grab the fuel over any other, but it seems to be only the bottom ones are taking it right now. So as soon as 12 have been eaten, we should start seeing mana coming out maybe at the middle one, since that was the next layer I put down. And with the recessive here on the spark, any mana in this pool will preferably flow down to those pools. But once all those pools are full, then this one can retain mana. Both of these can retain mana and start filling up. Oh, I also have the lenses. The Elven mana spreaders are probably not good enough to do without them, so not for 12. Maybe they are, but I don't think so. Alright, looks like I saw the middle one shoot. Yep, middle one's shooting now. So it's working its way up. And this is slowly filling. And when it gets to about a quarter, that should be over 4. 4 out of, the 16 stages could be 0 to 15. 4 should be about a quarter full, maybe a little bit more than that. At which point I'll stop putting fuel, and what's left in all of these flowers should be enough to fill it the rest of the way, at least according to how this one's been behaving. And there may be still some left in the flowers and in the spreaders, but not too much will be lost. And no fuel will be lost, because staggering the flowers, by the time the last one is fed, the first one is probably about ready to eat some more. Or it won't be long before it is. And the Solignolia here keeps my magnet from picking that up, even though I'm pretty close. Up there. All the flowers are now full and busy sending out their mana. So that one's just going to sit up there. But I've found that the 5 minutes it takes for that to despawn, one of these is going to, the first flower to eat fuel is going to finish with it before that despawns, and so it'll get eaten. So there doesn't seem to be any loss in the system. Only one item is out in the open at any one time, and as soon as the pool is full enough, the whole thing will shut down like it has over here. Grok the Duck Farmer has just earned the achievement World Domination How To. Create a minecart with a mana pool for long-range mana transport. Ooh, what are you making, Grokster? I'm recording. In case he doesn't want you guys to know. Alright, well that's it. We now have pretty much unlimited mana. Dottie, don't tell him. Mana cart. I know mana cart, but what foe? I mean, schmores. And that's enough, I think. 2 sets of 36 is probably plenty. Having more just makes it faster, and I really don't have much that's going to be using all that and need to fill it up fast. So this is probably more than overkill. So I think we're going to end this episode here. I was going to go straight on to roots. And while this is a sort of short episode, roots is going to take a little bit longer than can easily go on to this one. So we're going to call this one a Botania episode, the final Botania episode. Unless something really amazing comes along. This seems to have stopped and the pool is still half full, so I can probably crank it up a little higher than 4. Let's go to 6. 6 should be pretty good then. So this one's going to start running again because it's below 6 but above 4. And then it should coast higher. Coming close to full but not quite at full is ideal. Then nothing is wasted. Well, it already maxed out there. That didn't take very long. It's different if it's been running continuously than if it's run only for a short amount of time, because it'll coast for longer if it's been running continuously. Anyway, we'll stop here, and I will see you very soon for an episode on Roots Automation. This is Nonsanity, signing out. Take care, be good, and see you next time.